So you're considering retiring early, maybe at age 55 or 57 or 60, 62, 64. Let's just say you're considering retiring anywhere between age 55 and 65. Working with a lot of people just like you, I understand that this can be a really exciting time, but it can also be pretty scary and sometimes very nerve-wracking because you don't want to have to go back to work. And so in today's video, we're going to talk about some of the potential pitfalls that you might face, as well as some of the key elements to plan for at each and every age between age 55 and 65. So that way you don't have to worry about going back to work. All right, so we're going to start by talking about if you're to retire between ages 62 and 65. And for all ages, we're going to talk about some of the key elements that you want to plan for. So that way you don't have to worry in the future about potentially having to reduce your lifestyle or potentially having to go back to work. So let's take a look here. Age 62 through 65, one of the key elements that you need to plan for is healthcare. Have you thought about your healthcare expenses? You see, you can't sign up for Medicare until age 65. Now, yes, that will have a cost to it when you sign up at 65, but prior to age 65, if you're not working, you're on your own for health insurance. And as a business owner, I can tell you, health insurance is really expensive. And even as you need to go out and get it as an individual, it's really expensive. Most likely you're going to have, even though you're going to have to pay for Medicare at age 65, prior to 65, you're still going to have an increased cost of what you would have otherwise paid for Medicare when looking at health insurance. Take a look here at this Forbes article. This is showing the average cost of health insurance for an individual. This is just for one person. So if you're in your 50s, you really need to be considering as part of your expenses, maybe $600 to $800 a month for health insurance. And then that goes up the older that you get. So in your 60s, you might be looking at anywhere from $1,000 to $1,200 a month when it comes to health insurance. So have you accounted for this in your overall expenses? Have you thought about this? Have you planned for this? Have you put extra money aside for health insurance? So just as an example, if you feel like your normal expenses are going to be $5,000 a month, well, if you're in your 60s and you're retiring early, you might want to actually consider for a period of time that your expenses are going to be $6,000 a month because you're going to need health insurance as part of that retirement. Now, the thing at age 62 to 65 is that you can start taking Social Security as early as age 62. But one of the things that you really need to do is some Social Security planning to understand, is it really the right decision for you to take Social Security that early, or should you wait until a later date? All right, moving on. What do you need to plan for if you're going to retire between the ages of 59 and a half to age 62? Well, at these ages here, yes, you still have to make sure that you're accounting for health insurance and healthcare in your overall plan, those increased expenses. In addition to that, at this age range here, you don't have the ability to start taking your Social Security. So no ability to take Social Security means no income. And if you're retired, you don't have your company paycheck coming in anymore. So this is where now your retirement savings becomes the location where you're going to have to start cutting your retirement paychecks from. And the good news is at this age range, you can go to your retirement savings and start making withdrawals. However, I have noticed when working with a lot of people, this is a big mental shift. If you have been a saver, one thing that you have to just become accustomed with at this age is being a spender. A saver sometimes has a hard time becoming a spender. And what I mean by that is at this age, instead of putting money into your account, you're going to have to start taking money out of your account. Are you prepared for that? Also, have you structured your accounts for that? Here's an example of what I mean. Working with a couple that is retiring at age 60, one of the things that we've done is helped carve off some of their funds into lower volatility investments. That way they're not fluctuating like the market, because this is an area, since they're not able to take Social Security, they don't have a pension, the only location that they have to go to is their investments for their income. So by doing that, now they have a spot in their investments to go to take money out. So where some of the investments might be fluctuating, some of it, they know that they have it ready for income for their early retirement. All right, let's continue forward and talk about if you were to retire between the ages of 55 and 59 and a half. Well, similar to before, you're still going to have to consider those increased costs for healthcare, for health insurance, and the fact that you won't be able to have any Social Security coming in at this time frame as well. Then the additional point or element that you need to account for is no penalty-free withdrawals. So if all of your money is sitting in 401ks or IRAs, all of those tax-deferred accounts, prior to age 59 and a half, and of course there's always some special rules and exceptions, prior to age 59 and a half, you would face a 10% penalty for taking money out of an IRA or 401k. So do you really want to incur a 10% money on the money that you've worked so hard to save up just to retire between 55 and 59 and a half? Now, there's some good exceptions that we're going to talk about that you could potentially utilize in this case. But if you're looking at this or watching this video to go, oh, how do I plan ahead for retiring at these ages? Well, one of the things that you might want to do is start saving into an investment brokerage account. Now, a lot of people call it a lot of different things. A brokerage account, individual account, joint account, trust account. Basically, it's a non-retirement account. And those non-retirement accounts, you can put money in and you can take money out at any age without any sort of penalty. So we have some clients that are looking to retire somewhere between these ages. And what we did with them is that age, basically once we met them, we shifted around where they were saving to, and now they're saving a healthy chunk of their money also into their joint account. So that way, once they do retire early, they can take money out of the joint account for income and not have to worry about early withdrawal penalties from their IRAs or 401ks. Now, let's just say all of your money is sitting in your IRAs or 401ks. Are there some exceptions to this rule that you'd be able to utilize? Well, yeah. One of the exceptions is the rule of 55. What is the rule of 55? Well, what that states is that at age 55 or later, if you retire from your company and you have a 401k with that company, you're able to take withdrawals from that current company 401k penalty-free. Some very specific rules here is it's the current company that you retired from and that specific 401k. So if you have a bunch of old 401ks sitting out there that you never rolled over or done anything with, it does not include those. You would still get penalties from taking withdrawals from those or from your IRA. It's specific to your current company. Once you retire, you can take withdrawals from that account. Now, however, don't just run out and start doing that. Let me tell you a quick story here of a couple that we're working with that's retiring early and the difference between their company plans. One company plan allows the spouse, yes, of course, to use the rule of 55, but here's the thing. That one spouse can take withdrawals out every month, every year, every quarter, at whatever sequence that she wants to take withdrawals out from, and there's no penalties in regards to doing that. The other spouse, when we called in regards to their plan to understand the rule of 55 and how it works with their plan, that company said, hey, we can allow you to take the withdrawals out penalty free. However, you need to do it in one lump sum. And that, in that case, that would push them up into higher and higher tax brackets. And it wouldn't make sense at all for that specific person to use the rule of 55. So make sure when you're planning for your early retirement, just don't count on using the rule of 55. You want to make sure that you're talking to your specific plan in regards to it. Now, the other thing here that you saw on the list was Roth basis. That's one thing that you can also do without penalty is the money that you put into your Roth, you can take that base that you put in. You also have the ability to take that out. I'm going to say, in my opinion, I'm not certain if this is something that you really want to utilize or do, because that Roth is that tax-free money. And if you feel like taxes are going to go up in the future, you want to keep as much of that Roth money around, so that way you've got a lot more tax-free money in your future. But if you're planning to retire between 55 and 59 and a half, hopefully this gives you a really good idea of what you want to be thinking about and have accounted for in your plan, so you're not facing penalties, you've got your income accounted for, and you're looking at and planning for those elevated healthcare costs. Now, before we get into our last column of people that are looking to retire before the age of 55, if you're enjoying this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you'll get notified as we're coming out with new videos each and every week on retirement topics like Social Security, how to reduce the taxes on your IRAs and 401ks, and then topics like this of how to help you retire early. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you get notified as we're coming out with new videos each and every week. With that, let's move on to our next age group, which is before age 55. And when it comes to this age group here, as you probably can already guess, you're going to face a lot of the same challenges that you need to plan for. Having to pay for your own health care, no Social Security coming in. In this case, no penalty-free withdrawals with no stars under it, meaning no exceptions to the rules here. At this age range, you're really going to have to make sure that you've saved into alternative account types, meaning that brokerage account, so you have a location to go to get income. Because if you don't have your company paycheck, you don't have the ability to get Social Security, and you don't have the ability to make withdrawals from your IRAs or 401ks, you're going to need a location to go to and get some money. So in that case, you're going to want to make sure that you've got money saved up into those brokerage accounts and non-retirement accounts, so you can go and make those withdrawals. Now, there's a few others that actually stretch across all age ranges that I just wanted to bring up and talk to you about. So let's talk about the first one here. The first one is your investments. And when I say investments, what I'm talking about here is a couple things. First off, if you're going to retire early, you have to look at what you have, your account value, your investments, and make sure that you have enough. Do you have enough to be able to retire early? Do you have enough to take money out prior to when you start Social Security or when you start your pension? And the other part about that is, are your investments properly structured? So knowing that you're going to have to take money out, I know one thought process could be like, oh man, if I don't have Social Security coming in and I can't start it for a while and I've got all of these expenses that are coming up, I better get really conservative in my accounts. Well, that might not help you out either, because if you're retiring early, if you live into your 90s, you're going to need your investments to potentially last you 30 to 40 years. And so you need growth in your investments. So you're going to need your accounts growing, but you're also going to have to make sure that you have a strategy in place where you have some funds carved off into lower volatility investments. That way you've got money ready for you when you need income, but you also have money growing for your future. The other thing that you really need to think about here is taxes. From a tax standpoint, if all of your money is saved into IRAs and 401ks, when you're doing your plan and you're going, hey, I've got $1 million saved up or $2 million saved up or $3 million, whatever the number is, and I'm going to retire early, that's not actually the value that you have, because if the money's in your IRAs and 401ks, when you take it out, you're going to have to pay income tax on every dollar that you take out. And so you have $1 million less taxes, $2 million less taxes. How much taxes will you pay? Well, it all depends on your tax plan and tax structure. And that's not the point of today's video. It's just to make sure that you're planning for it and prepared for it. Now, we have created a free guide to unlocking hidden tax savings opportunities. Might be helpful to you. If you want to download that, you can go to lifemoneyshow.com/taxes. Again, that's lifemoneyshow.com/taxes. but you're really going to want to make sure that you have a tax plan in place, because the more that you do to help reduce what you pay to the IRS means more of that hard-earned income sitting and staying in your pocket. So just to wrap up, early retirement can be really exciting, but it also can be a potentially scary or nerve-wracking time, because I get it. If you're going to retire early, you don't want to go back to work. So that's why it's really important to make sure that you have all of these details and elements accounted for in your overall plan. So that way you've got a plan that accounts for it. So hopefully you can just go on to the exciting times and get rid of those nerves about having to worry about going back to work or reducing your lifestyle. Again, if you found this video to be of value and benefit, you'd like to see additional videos on retirement topics like Social Security or reducing the taxes on your IRAs and 401ks, subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you'll get notified as we're coming out with new videos each and every week. Thanks, and have a great day.